Oh my gosh. Okay, note to self, cold tires, opening it up means that the rear end spins out. I just did a rolling burnout at like 50, and then this gets stuck. Oh man, this is gonna be a good video.
Perfect.
Alright, welcome back to Life of Birch. This is Birch. I am on my 2006 VFR800 that, if you follow the channel, you know I bought literally 5 months ago. I just finally got it inspected and road legal. So we're going to go over exactly how much I paid for the bike and go over all of the mods it already has done to it, all that kind of good stuff. And then I'm also going to go over how I got such a crazy good deal on the bike. If you haven't done it already, make sure you go back and watch the video that I made of me test riding this bike back in July, so you can kind of see my first impressions and all that kind of good stuff. I also did a walk around of the bike. We'll do a quick walk around of the bike here, but just to kind of give you an overview and show you what's done to it. And I also mentioned in that video that the seller had this bike listed for $3,150, and today we're going to go over how much I actually paid for the bike. But first we're going to get to the end of this road where it's the dead end where I did my Rebel wheelie video, and we'll hop off and check out the bike. Oh, that's a good sign. Nobody's down here doing drugs. Normally when I'm down here, somebody like comes circling through, obviously looking sketchy, but the coast is clear for now. All right, now before I turn the bike off, the first thing I'm going to point out is that it still has this stock exhaust, but the cans are gutted, so the baffles are removed, and it sounds incredible. So let's give that a listen real quick. Oh, that's the good stuff. So here she is, 2006 VFR800. Let me pop that open so I don't keep fogging my visor up. Anyway, 2006 Honda VFR800. This is the V-Tec model. Obviously, it is like the dark gray, black color or whatever. In pretty good shape, but it's definitely dirty because the guy had it sitting for a little while. And I was talking in the last video about like the grime that was on it, and I realized it's actually like some sort of residue from the guy smoking cigars in his garage all the time. And I realized that because he was smoking a cigar when I pulled up to the house both times, and I noticed that when I was riding it before, anytime the exhaust warmed up, it smelled like cigars. So that's what that is. Definitely could use a good like deep cleaning, but not too worried about that. As far as what the bike has done to it, obviously you already heard the exhaust. Like I said, it's stock exhaust. It just has the baffles removed so that it still has the stock look, but has the good sound to it. Has the fender eliminator here. I have no idea what company it is or anything like that. I just know that normally it has a fender and this does not. And then it also has under the seat Power Commander 5, which is the, you know, like computer thing that essentially you can change the fuel to air ratio, all that kind of good stuff. And specifically with this bike, helps smooth out the transition to V-Tec, which can be a little twitchy sometimes. So I'm glad that that already had it and helped smooth that out. As far as condition of the bike, like I said, it's in pretty good shape, has some scuffs here and there, but what do you expect out of a, you know, 14-year-old or whatever bike? It's definitely dirty and could use a good cleaning, but you know, not too concerned about that. The tires are definitely old, and I was going to get those replaced when I got it inspected, but they were able to pass it based off the tread, and I plan on probably just trading this bike in when I get my Rebel 1100, so the dealer can worry about those tires, and I'm not going to be too concerned about it right now, unless of course, you know, I do something like I just did with cold old tires, pulling out and doing a rolling burnout at 50. Which I don't recommend, but it was exhilarating. And then other, you know, condition notes, it had like stickers on it, and I took those off when I got it. Not a big deal there. And then the front fender had some cracks on it here, probably from something falling on it in the garage or whatever. Front reflectors are some weird like New Belgium brewing reflectors, but whatever, New Belgium's cool, I guess. And other than that, she is in good shape, rides like a dream, only has 18,000 miles on her, which is not bad for a sport touring bike of its age. And I'm sure everybody is wondering, just get to the point, how much did you pay for the bike? So like I said, it was listed for $3,150, which I thought was a good enough deal as is, because these bikes, I feel like I normally see them listed for $3,500 to $4,000. I saw it listed for $3,150. I went there honestly hoping to get it for like $2,800, and I ended up walking away with this bike for only $2,000. So not only was I blown away that I was able to get this bike for $2,000, but I also, on the exact same day that I picked up this bike, sold my old VFR800, my 1992, for exactly $2,000. So literally in the same day, I sold my 1992 VFR750 for the exact price that I needed to pick up this 2006 VFR800. Talk about a come up. Now, of course, it did need a few items to pass inspection and be ready to go, so I'll cover that real quick also. The chain was super rusted, so I had the chain replaced. It had been sitting on a trickle charger for a while and the battery was just toast, so I put a new lithium-ion battery in it. For inspection, it needed tag lights, so they put on like these little, like, you know, the bolt ones that have the lights on it, and then the rear brake pads were a little bit low, so they replaced those also. Now, even with having those things done and having a shop do it, no less, so obviously I had to pay a little bit in labor instead of doing it myself, all of that still only cost me $547. So even still, with all those things done, I got this bike for essentially $2,500 ready to pass inspection. Now, of course, you also factor in the costs of the inspection, the cost of tax, tag, title, and all the things that you need to actually get it on the road. And after all those expenses, it came out to only $3,048. So essentially, I got this bike squared away, inspected, tagged, titled, everything ready to go on the road for $100 less than the guy had it listed for originally. To say that I'm stoked is an understatement. But what do you think? Let me know. Do you think I got ripped off? Do you think it's a good deal? Obviously, the bike, like I said, is dirty and needs some stuff done, whatever. But I essentially paid $2,500 for the bike ready to pass inspection, and then even after tax, tag, title, all that kind of stuff that you'd normally have anyway, it came in under $3,050. And with that said, I feel like it would be a good idea to go over how I got such a good deal on this bike so that anybody who is, you know, looking into buying a used bike can figure out exactly how to get a good deal like I did. And I'll just say, when I'm looking for a bike, I look on Facebook, Let Go, OfferUp, Craigslist, all of that. And any of the sites like Facebook or OfferUp or Let Go that allow you to make any kind of automated alert, I always set that up. So I'll set it up to, you know, if I'm looking for a VFR800, I'll have all those sites set up that as soon as something with VFR or VFR800 in it get posted, I get an alert, so I'm one of the first people to see it. Now, in this case, I just happened to be scrolling and found it. It wasn't one of the alerts that I had set up, but that is normally what I do. So anyway, I found the bike, and you know, when you're first talking to them through messaging, you want to make sure that you're at least in the same ballpark as far as price goes. So for this one, it was $3,150. You know, I asked him about the condition and all that kind of stuff, and I said, are you negotiable, just to kind of make sure that he wasn't, you know, set on that price. He said yes, so that was kind of a go for me. Now, when I went to look at the bike, all of the issues that I was telling you guys about, I pointed out to him. I didn't make it seem like, oh, this is a deal breaker, or seem upset. You know, obviously, show that you're interested in the bike, show that you're serious, but as you're going through, you know, look at the bike and say, oh man, this bike is great. I love that it has the power commander, blah, blah, blah. Oh, did you notice that it's a little faded right here, though? Hey, I noticed that the tire's a little bit older. Have you been okay riding on those? That way, you know, you show that you're interested and that you're serious, but still point out the issues. Don't make it seem like it'll be a deal breaker unless it is, but just point them out as you go so that they see that you're vigilant and you're aware of the things that the bike needs. And then, honestly, I normally let them talk themselves down as much as I can first, as opposed to me coming in with an offer first. Because if his rock bottom price was $2,000 and I came in right off the bat and said, you know, I was wondering, would you take $2,800? He's obviously going to say yes. He knows now that I'm willing to pay the $2,800. So the first thing that I said is, listen, before I take it out on a test ride, I'm super serious, but I need to know, what's your rock bottom price? You said you're negotiable, but what is your rock bottom price? And he came straight out and said, oh man, you know, I don't know. It's been sitting for a while. Really want to see it go to somebody who's going to love it like I did. You know I said I was negotiable. He's like, I could probably go down to $2,400. And I didn't say anything. I just kind of looked at the bike and nodded like I was processing it, let him kind of sit with it a little bit, and he goes, you know, like somewhere $2,000 to $2,400 would definitely be my rock bottom. So right there, went from $3,150 to $2,400, and then talked himself down to $2,000 just like that. Now, he said $2,000 to $2,400, but because he said $2,000, you already know that it's on his mind. So I take the bike out for a test ride, everything's good, you know, it's riding great, come back, chatting with him some more and, you know, point some things out like, oh, you know, when I had it out, I also noticed that the front fender was cracked, blah, 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 blah. Asking him if he has any other interest in the bike, all that kind of good stuff. And then I don't even mention the 2400 part. I just say, you know, listen, before I took it on the test ride, I heard your rock bottom was $2,000. If you're still set on that, man, I love the bike. I got $2,000 on me right now. Let's make it happen. And he paused for a little while and just goes, all right, man, let's make it happen. So that's the big thing, is like, don't show your cards if you don't have to. Ask them what their rock bottom price is and let them work themselves down. That way it feels like a win-win. They don't feel like they got ripped off because you're telling them what you want to pay. They feel like they are the one that came up with the price, and so it's agreeable for everybody. And especially once you have cash in hand and you can show them that cash, it's game over, because half the time sellers, obviously they want to make top dollar, but they also want as little hassle as possible. They don't want all these kids coming through, tire kicking, checking it out, taking their bike for a ride or whatever. So work out a price with them. Let them determine the price as much as possible. Obviously, if you don't agree, you can help talk them down, but then have that cash in hand ready to go, because cash is king. So I guess that's pretty much, you know, it's what I did for this bike. That's pretty much my strategy for every bike, but with this one, it just happened to to really pay off with the deal that I got on this bike. So anyway, guys, there it is, the grand price reveal 5 months later for the VFR800. I'm gonna hold on to this bike for at least another month or two until my Rebel 1100 gets here. Do some more videos on it. Eventually end up selling it to get the Rebel 1100, or I might just, you know, if I can get a good enough trade-in offer, just keep it up until the very day that I pick up the Rebel 1100 and do a trade-in on that, so I'm not left without a bike for any time period. Hopefully that helped you guys. I figured it would be cool to not only do a price reveal, but to show you guys exactly kind of what my strategy is and how you guys can also find really good deals on bikes, because so far, you know, I'm not out here flipping bikes, but there has not been a single motorcycle that I bought so far that when I sold it, I didn't make some sort of at least small profit off of it. So if I can get a good deal on a bike and then essentially get paid to ride it, I mean, what's better than that? So as always, make sure to leave a comment below letting me know what videos do you want to see me do with this bike, what are you most excited for with this bike, so that I can make sure that I'm making videos that you guys want to see. And then make sure to check out my channel if you haven't already. I have videos on my old VFR750. I got a lot of videos on my Rebel 500 that I have also. Like I mentioned, I've done like a wheelie session down here before. I'm not super good at the wheelies, but whatever. And then, like I said, I'm also getting the Rebel 1100, so I'm super stoked for that. Expect tons of videos with that. And if you haven't already, subscribe to see more content. And I think that'll do it. Love you guys. Peace.